Sit! Welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast, where we discuss dynasty strategy, rankings, and all things NFL. So get ready to geek out on fantasy football with your host, Rich Dotson.
And welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm Rich Dotson. He's Matt O'Hara.
Hey.
He's Garrett Price.
How's it going?
It's going good. I'm back from Vegas. I'm still alive.
That's always good.
Yeah.
It's a start. That's a bonus, yeah.
Lot more poor. Than I was.
Lots more poor.
You guys want my Zelly, Venmo, or PayPal? Please let me know. Until then, my kids will not eat. And it's not their fault. It's mine.
Yep.
I went to Vegas, and I lost at everything. But no, I didn't lose. I sat at a poker table for like 8 hours with like a dentist and a airplane pilot, a pilot. Just because I guess for a pilot, you fly planes. Pretty self-explanatory.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean,
like he's an airplane.
They do
This is a pilot for planes.
They go hand in hand.
He's an airplane pilot. Oh, cool.
It could be a helicopter pilot,
Could be an
especially out there
astronaut
in
pilot.
Vegas.
Yeah, drone pilot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. Solved.
Okay. Could be a pilot worker at the gas station. No. I played poker for 8 hours for one day. Got way too drunk there. But this is the only time I won. Besides, I lost every football bet I made, the Circa, the MGM. It didn't matter. If I bet on it, it lost. The one guy I was with, I was like, you know what? The other bet I like besides the Browns. I was like, dude, I love Green Bay today, man. I think
Really?
Jordan Love's gonna come in and carve up Minnesota at home in Green Bay.
Darnold turns back into a pumpkin.
I was like, you know what? I'm gonna double my bet that I have on Green Bay. At this point, I was already sauced. I didn't really sleep much, but I sauced. And I went down, double my bet. I see him like it was like he met us up like an hour after the game started. He's like walks right up to me. He's like, carve up Minnesota, huh? Jordan Love. He's like, you're the football guy, right? I'm like, boy, was I wrong today. I was like, to make you feel better, I've been wrong about every single thing I've done all day. Everything I've touched.
To be fair, Green Bay did come back.
Yeah.
They made it interesting.
He did carve them up eventually.
And I did get super excited. It's like, oh, they got we're watching
For a second there.
Yeah.
the game because that went into
He just needed to knock the rust off a little bit.
yeah. That's what I thought too. 'Cause we left the games at
Did knock it
halftime
off quite early enough.
to go to the Brown Stadium at Legion, and then we're sitting there. And obviously, we get there a little bit early. I have my phone open, checking the game. I'm like, wow, Green Bay's coming back. Like, look at this. And they get the ball. I'm like, dude, Green Bay's only got to score and get the 2-point conversion. It's tied. The line was 3. I was like, we're golden. He's like, oh, we're like, as soon as I tell the guy who I told to carve him up, as soon as I tell him, I was like, dude, Green Bay's got the ball back. All they got to do is drive down to score.
Throw a pick.
10 seconds later, they threw an interception. I'm like, never mind. Disregard.
mind.
Just kidding.
What did you do to piss off the football gods this weekend, man?
I don't know, but I was now to be fair, every other time I've been to Vegas, I've walked away up. But boy, did everything I touched.
Did not work this time.
My
There's
buddy
a
who I
reason.
went with, dude could not lose. I think he won like $10,000.
Oh, dang.
No, like legit 10,000. I think it was like 10,000 is what he won. I was with him, and he couldn't lose. It was one of the most remarkable things I've ever seen at anything he touched, from random slots to roulette to the games. I brought him over to play. Hey, play this. He's like, I've never played this before. I'm like, what's my favorite game? Let's play this. And he's like, okay. I lose 200. He won 800. It was unbelievable. God bless him.
I mean, next time, if you want, we can go out downtown. You can just give me like $1,000. I'll kick you in the balls. We'll call it even.
Yeah. Save you a bunch of time.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I was doing things I don't really do. Like they like to play slots. I hate slots.
No?
I don't like slots. No, because the only thing I won money at is the only thing I love to do, which is play poker. Like down at a table, no limit Texas
Like
Hold'em.
Texas Hold'em?
That's my favorite thing to play.
Okay.
You know, I can sit there. I literally sat there for 9 hours drinking vodka sodas and smashed and played poker. And the only time I made money the whole weekend. But I lost all that profit too, so it doesn't matter.
All right. Well, let's talk about rankings.
Yeah, let's do some ranking stuff.
Oh, you guys want to hear about how poor I am still?
We're done with your poorness.
Well, I ranked my bank account dead last in this segment. But yeah, we're going to go. So we just got done with week 4. So we're just about 25% of the way through the NFL season, and we're about 30% of the way through our actual fantasy football season. I think a little bit more than that, right?
Depends if you're talking with playoffs or without playoffs.
Yeah. Well, with playoffs, we're about 25%, 30 through the regular season-ish. So what we want to do is we're going to sit here and kind of talk about some like major adjustments we've possibly made up or down with players, because in the offseason, obviously, it's really hard for rankings to jump drastically. Maybe when a player gets traded, you don't like the system, somebody gets hurt, that could do it. But when the games start to play, that's where we really start to do, hey, how is Waldron doing in Chicago? We know Jackson Smith and Jigba talked major crap on him on live television, said the guy was super doo-doo better. How's he going in Chicago? Well, guess what? You could spray paint doo-doo with all the sprinkles you want. Still a doo-doo Sunday.
That's
so not very good out there with Caleb Williams.
So far, not so hot.
So that can adjust some things, and it has. So, for example, here's what I want. Here's how I want to start the show. I kind of want to get your guys' opinion on this and the listeners' opinion in their brain. Jayden Daniels, quarterback for the Washington Commanders, was a player, when we scouted him, when I got done watching his tape, I said, wow, man, like this guy, like I'm way more tempted now to take him over Caleb Williams than I was before. And I said at the time, I was like, hey, I have 2 first-round pick overalls. I'm for sure going to take one Caleb and one Jayden.
Yeah.
I ended up making a trade, so I got Caleb and Jayden in the one league that I got anyways, so it didn't matter. Ended up flipping Caleb for Marvin Harrison Jr. But I wish I would have been more adamant. And the big thing talking about it was the fantasy football production that Jayden Daniels brought to the table, right? Like it wasn't just his arm. I was really pleased with his arm, his accuracy, which shows he just broke the NFL record for highest completion percentage going into week 4 in the first 3 games there. Obviously, his legs are the weapons that came true in that segment. I moved Jayden Daniels up after week 3 to my 4th overall player in Superflex tight end premium leagues.
Okay.
And for me, he's right behind C.J. Stroud, Pat Mahomes, and Josh Allen. And, C.J. Stroud is obviously a year younger than him. And Pat Mahomes, we're going to talk about Pat Mahomes in the next episode, so I don't want to go in too crazy about Pat Mahomes, but, there's a very...
I was going to say, I thought you were going to move him up to 2.
And that's why I want to talk out here. I stopped at 4, and I was like, we're going to talk about it on the show, and I mentioned, hey, I'm here, but I want to talk about it in depth before I do anything crazy.
Okay.
Pat Mahomes last year had 5 games where he scored over 20 points. And first one were the first 3. He only did it twice after that. Jayden Daniels coming out the gates swinging. Not a good offensive line at this point. Just pretty much Terry McLaurin, very old Zach Ertz, and he's just lining up. His ball accuracy, his mobility.
Everything's been on point.
Yeah, everything that we saw on tape. The burst from a quarterback. You don't see bursts outside of Lamar Jackson that Jayden Daniels has in the NFL. And to be fair, we said after watching his tape, the moment Jayden Daniels steps on an NFL field, and this is before he was even drafted, he's arguably the second best rusher in the league behind Lamar Jackson.
No doubt about it. And right now, you look at the fantasy pro site that I'm looking at for points, and it's Jayden Daniels and Lamar Jackson 1 and 2 right now for quarterbacks.
Yeah,
and it makes perfect sense because these guys they win in almost the exact same way, but you can argue. I don't even think it's much of an argument. Jayden Daniels is a better passer.
Oh yeah.
Oh, night and day.
Yeah.
I mean,
we see what's going on with that Baltimore
beautiful
offense right now, comparatively. So,
and it's one of those things I really tried to hammer when we were breaking down the tape on Jayden Daniels. Was like he could play all 3 levels of the field and be accurate with it. And I want to hammer it home because I didn't want him to be just labeled as just a running quarterback because I did not think that was the case. Now, him being 23 years old in 9 months, we'll call him 24. But by the time he's going to get the rest of the year in here, you're getting a younger Lamar Jackson that throws the football better. So he's clearly better than Lamar. Jordan Love has looked fantastic. I feel like I'm ready to put Jordan Love ahead of Jalen Hurts. I'm ready to do that. Justin Herbert I still have high because I believe in a player's talent tremendously. I probably need to start moving him down a little bit. So he jumped Jayden Daniels. So going back to where I have him at number 4 overall is, to you guys, is that too high? Am I out of my mind? I'm not going to move him down. Because my question is, why don't I have Jayden Daniels number 2 overall? Because he's 5 years younger than Pat Mahomes. He's 3 years older than C.J. Stroud, but C.J. Stroud's not even a quarterback 1. And that's kind of what C.J. Stroud doesn't really bring that rushing ability to the table that he does. And what we saw already out of him that last year, even with his numbers wise, he wasn't like an elite fantasy football quarterback. So far on the year, we have Jayden Daniels as the number 2 overall fantasy quarterback overall. Jayden Daniels is the 4th overall scoring player, behind Saquon, Josh Allen, and Alvin Kamara. I feel that Jayden Daniels deserves to be the number 2 overall player in Superflex tight end premium rankings because the fact that he's 23 years old in 9 months, He offers that rushing ability. There's a safety net behind his rushing ability of his arm that he can outlast. We know that a quarterback of his talent, his mobility, if we compare him to somebody like Lamar Jackson, who's a good comp for rushing wise, we know that we could probably get this rushing ability for at least 3 to 4 more years at a high level out of Jayden Daniels, which tells me you're going to have a top 4, top 5 overall fantasy player on your roster. Pat Mahomes at, again, 29 years old, just turned 29, I think last week, doesn't really offer the rushing upside that, of a Jayden Daniels. He can rush the ball, but not as much.
You're talking a 300-ish yard rusher every year, like nothing elite. He gets a little bit extra here and there, but not a lot.
And on a week in, week out basis, he's not putting up QB1 numbers. It's just, he's not, or even at QB1, he's not putting up those elite numbers of 20
the top
plus points.
3 type guys. Yeah.
As safe gets, but listen, are we sitting here to play name games, or are we sitting here to play who scores the most points in Dynasty? Who's going to give me the longest run of point scoring possible? And to me, that all points to Jayden Daniels. Like, I think
Matt, where do you have
a very fine point to make made for him.
So right now, you know me, guys. I'm a little bit slower to move these guys along, right? And that's the reason C.J. Stroud never made it past 5 for me. Everyone else had C.J. Stroud pushed right up to 3. Mm-hmm. I never had him higher than 5. I never put him above Jalen Hurts or Justin Herbert in my rankings. And so for me, this has been it's slowly starting to creep. He has, for me, Jayden Daniels has leapfrogged Caleb Williams in my rookie rankings. He's above Jordan Love. He's above Brock Purdy, but he's at my QB8 right now.
Okay.
In Superflex.
Who do you have ahead of him then?
It's Lamar is still there. Joe Burrow, C.J. Stroud, Hurts, Herbert, Mahomes, and Allen. Okay. And to be honest, sitting here talking about it, Herbert and Hurts probably do need to go down, both of those guys for me, because they're struggling a little bit.
I have no problem with Hurts. Herbert's the one, and this is a side note, maybe we talk about this in a little bit because he was one of the ones that I did kind of want to touch on. I've moved him down fairly significantly, but we can get to him. But speaking on Jayden Daniels, I currently have him at 5. I currently have it Allen, Mahomes, Hurts, Stroud, then Daniels, personally. Partly because Jalen Hurts is still a very young quarterback, only 26 years old. He's got the contract insulation, and he has been a little bit hit and miss this year, but you also have to factor in he's missing his top 2 wide receivers.
Yes, yep.
So better days are ahead, absolutely, for Jalen Hurts. But Rich, going back to your original question of why should we not put him at 2? I don't know if there is a foolproof, without a doubt, reason he should not be number 2. Now, the reason I have not done it yet, just to play like devil's advocate on this, because I can listen to an argument of him being all the way up at 2, and I have no issue with it, honestly. The reason I haven't done it yet is partly because we have seen short bursts from other quarterbacks before.
Yep.
It's 1 month. The league tends to adjust. They figure out guys, and then it's up to the player to then readjust. And you kind of have that back and forth then. We haven't seen that. We haven't seen him have to readjust yet.
Right.
And that's kind of what I'm waiting on.
And a lot of times players are talking about 4-game windows because that's kind of what they scout in when they look back to prep for a game. They look at the four most recent games and kind of go from there. If there's an odd, change in the lineup, maybe they'll go back a little bit further.
Sure.
But now they finally got a book on him, so to speak. So that to your point, I think kind of we'll see coming up if there's anything that can be done to kind of slow him down. Another thing that I think is working in his favor. I mean, Lamar Jackson, an AFC guy, he has got a crazy record against the NFC because they're not used to seeing a Lamar Jackson type of guy. It's like a 29-1 or 30-1 record or something against the NFC. It's pretty crazy. Yeah. Now they have one, right? So now they're all seeing it week in and week out, but they're still seeing it for the first time and haven't adjusted yet either. Sure. So I think this is all going to be one of those things where eventually we'll see if these NFL coaches can kind of adjust and be able to slow him down. It's only a matter of time. I'm going to wait probably me personally, it's probably going to take me most of this year to get him above where he is right now just because I'm a little slower. I'm more conservative. That's just me by nature.
Sure.
When I'm moving these guys up, especially rookies specifically, I'm conservative moving those guys up.
And it's very fair. Everything you guys said is very fair. And I feel like my job on this show, my job in the Dynasty GM is to, study all these college players, watch the NFL games, and then literally come on here and just give my opinion.
Absolutely.
That's my opinion. And hope to be right more than I'm wrong. And over the last 7 years, I've been, blessed enough where I've been right more than I'm wrong. It helps with the success of our show. It's
more than 7 past 10 years.
Yeah. So for us, like it's
Hasn't the show been around for 10 years?
It has. Yeah.
The first 3 years were rough, guys, but after that,
so
it was great.
For me, it's like
I just got back from Vegas. Give him a break.
I want to react to what I believe in.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to wait to, like, for me, and it's me, another player we're going to talk about here in a minute. Like, it's not people like, but the number one thing I hear is like, wow, after 3 games, you know what I mean? Or after 4, it's like, no, dude. And I always comment, like, sometimes I comment something, I'm like, no, it's 4 years of college tape or every game he played last year that I saw and all the notes I took and it translated. Like, the moment I make big ranking adjustments isn't because like a guy just all of a sudden he had a couple good games. It's when everything that I had in my head, like this needs to happen, this needs to happen, this needs to happen. I need to see this, and this for that to translate for him to be, when I look at ceilings, like him to be a tie-in QB1, right? Like when I said Jayden Daniels in my bold prediction show is going to be a top 6 fantasy football quarterback. When I start to see that click, it doesn't matter how long it takes me to see that click. It can take 1 game. I can see something click like that. But after 4 games, how we're doing a show, like
right.
I've seen enough where like everything I saw on that college film that made me go, wow, this guy should go ahead of Caleb Williams has already translated to the NFL in 4 games as a rookie.
I think I know the answer to this, but I think it's worth asking to hear your answer. What's the difference between a Jayden Daniels doing this for a short spurt and like an Anthony Richardson doing it for a short spurt? The difference in his rookie season.
The difference with Anthony Richardson was he wasn't a very high, like everything that Anthony Richardson won on early was his athletic ability and some of that rushing ability as well, which he has not done this year. And it's like, okay, we always knew he had to translate as a passer, he had to grow into that passer right? So after that season, Anthony Richardson did jump my rankings a little bit because I'm like, wow, in a short game window, like he could do that. He's only 21 years old. Like, yeah, he did jump, right? But he had a lot more work to do to become an elite top. Again, my conversation feature, I moved Jayden Daniels as my number 2 overall player.
Yeah,
in Superflex. So
and that's, for the record, that's what I thought you were going to say. Like I saw there was more college tape, basically of a Jayden Daniels. He looked better passing the ball.
Sure.
There was less that you had to project, kind of working out in the NFL for him to work out.
Not as many injury concerns.
All that kind of stuff makes it easier for a guy like that to go this high, as opposed to an Anthony Richardson, who also had a lot of hype around him and has a lot of fantasy upside. But a lot of question marks. I think those question marks haven't been answered yet to Anthony Richardson to your satisfaction.
100%.
Definitely not to my satisfaction.
Just look at it as like if you had, like every player you had for like junior ranking shit and you want to rank a player, right? Like every player had a box that says mobility, accuracy, players around him, O-line, coaching, all that. And you had to check the boxes as it go along. When all those boxes were checked, then they jump a huge tier or wherever you have them in their ceiling. Anthony Richardson checked 2 boxes his rookie year, like opportunity, arm strength, 3 boxes, and mobility, right? Like, but not accuracy, anything like that. Where Jayden Daniels checked every single box already for me. Every single box. And the last throw he made to Terry McLaurin, end the game, with the game on the line, on the pressure, the ability for him to step into the pocket and make that pass in his 3rd NFL game. When the game was on the line, pressure against him, he did that. And it wasn't just that. It was like afterwards, and they're talking about, he's like, yeah, I'm just always ready for these moments. Like, this is not too big for me. Like, I'm ready. Like, it's like, yeah, you know what? This kid, we kind of knocked him a little bit for playing a little bit longer, but this kid is ready. Like, the game's not moving
I'm
too
putting
fast
him over Lamar. All right, that's it. You talked me into it. He went up one spot.
And look what you're doing. I mean, so going back to it, Matt, like my job.
Keep going.
My
Joe
job,
Burrow, you're next.
And our job as an analyst is, right, like our rankings affect the Dynasty GM, the trade calculator, all that stuff. Like everything, it affects it. So it's my job as an analyst, as a Dynasty analyst, to come in here and not just be like, kind of like go with the flow and kind of like make generic rankings up here. It's like,
You got to go with your convictions.
I'm trying to put, our tools are built for our paid members, the Nerd Herd, which you get the free shows, we all this stuff for, to put them in a better position than somebody else. I say it all the time. What looks like an overpay today could be an underpay tomorrow. Last year, at the end of the season, I was like, give me all the Jordan Love, give me all the Devon Achane, give me all the Jayden Reed, and I was also in on George Pickens. George Pickens is getting the separation. He's not really putting points on there. Jayden Reed looks absolutely lights out. Devon Achane looks lights out. Jordan Love looks like lights out. I always say
George Pickens makes wow plays every single game. Though.
He does. And it's a lot of them get called back.
It's fun.
He's a fun dude to watch. Yeah.
When I see these players identify them and I'm saying, and I'm moving my rankings, and I have to see people say, oh, way to overrate somebody after 3 games or something. That's my job to do that. And I want to put it on here. So when the users go in here and see that, wow, Rich has Jayden Daniels as his number 2 overall player, and I can get Jalen Hurts and right now and get a first back for Jayden Daniels. Plus, I want to put the people that listen and follow my rank set to do that. It's why I feel like over 20 years I've been very successful at this game is because I'm trying to get ahead of the market.
6 points better than Joe Burrow right now.
And Joe Burrow does offer no mobility, and he's got the risk. It's going to get better, but Joe Burrow doesn't offer mobility.
See you, Joe.
A quarterback like
Look at you. Look at you moving up. I have him at 5. So are you all the way up to 6 now?
I'm all the way up to 6. Yeah.
And, you're about to move him ahead of Herbert too.
Yeah.
Herbert might go down. Oh no, he's going to be at 5.
So the best way to look at it is if you can go back in time right now, look at it this way. If you can go back, here's the easiest way to say it. If you go back right now in time, you have a time machine, and you're in a Superflex startup.
If I got a time machine, I'm doing a lot of other cool shit.
Guys, I got a time machine.
Just to let you know.
Let's redraft this.
And you can get you can get Lamar Jackson.
You ever seen Biff Town? Oh yeah, Matt Town in a house.
It's a great place to be. If you get Lamar Jackson at 23 years old in 9 months, where are you taking him?
Right.
You're going to take him ahead of Joe Burrow. You're taking him ahead of CJ Stroud. Because the way it's going to work out. You're taking him ahead of Jalen Hurts at 26 because the years matter. When you say it's a 2-year, 3-year difference in age, that matters. It's 3 more years. And with Jayden Daniels' arm over Lamar Jackson, that's what you're getting. So we already love the run game. We said he's the best runner in the league compared to that. He's already shown in the NFL that he can do that at a very high level. That alone is what propelled Anthony Richardson up and tons of these quarterbacks. Kyler Murray coming out, right? To get that rushing ability, compared with what we've seen at his arm at an NFL level already, to me, makes him the number 2 overall quarterback. Pat Mahomes is fantastic. He's 29 years old. It's a 6-year difference.
So are you officially moving him?
I already moved him. He's my 2 overall.
Done and done.
He's my 2 overall player. It's just, in Dynasty, that matters. Here's the thing, too. Even if their point per game is 1 or 2 points different, for say Jalen Hurts, or it's a point, he's scoring 24 and Jalen Hurts is scoring 25.6. When it comes down to a point per game and stuff like that, the years really matter. So when you're getting a 3-year difference in Jayden Daniels, let me put it this way.
Should we move CJ Stroud up then? Because he's 2 years younger than Jayden Daniels.
No, because he doesn't offer.
He doesn't offer the rushing.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm just.
And listen, this isn't just an age thing. This isn't age bias. It's it's everything. It really is. It's everything. Coaching, teammates, their rushing ability, their arm, age, all that does matter. Mm-hmm. And when you're on the clock, so the way I'm looking at it is, okay, if I'm on the clock in a startup and I have Josh Allen just went, and I could have any player in a Superflex tight end premium league, not about throw everything else out the window, values or anybody else's opinion, anything else right now. And that's how you should do your ranks, right? I'm on a clock at 1-2 and I can't trade out of my pick. I have to take the player I think is going to be the best long-term investment in Superflex. That player to me right now is Jayden Daniels. And if you want to make an argument for CJ Stroud because he's 22 and he's got all his weapons, sure, I'll listen to it. You want to say Pat Mahomes because he's the greatest quarterback in NFL right now? NFL quarterback? Yeah, but you're also going to make the argument back that he's not scoring over 20 points. He hasn't done it since week 12 of last year, let alone. Or Jayden Daniels and get 6 years. I'm taking Jayden Daniels. Jordan Love, I'll listen to it. Jayden Daniels runs better. Justin Herbert, who knows if they're ever going to throw the football again? All that stuff. So it's
perfect
that's the way
transition.
I look at it.
Let's get to Justin Herbert because right now, where do you guys have Justin Herbert?
I still have him at 3, but
I have him as QB5, 6 overall.
Not for
okay. I've moved him down to 12 at this point.
It's very fair.
And
It really
look, it's nothing against Justin Herbert. I had already started moving him down in the offseason, but with what I saw the first 4 weeks, he's still a good player.
Yep.
He's still a good quarterback. But we went from, in 2021, the Chargers were the 5th most passing team. In 2022, 2nd most passing. 2023, 6th most passing. Every year they were towards the top,
chucking it,
throwing the ball.
Yep.
Where would you guys like to guess they're at in 2024?
I think I know the answer, so I'm not going to guess. Go ahead, Rich.
I just moved Justin Herbert down to my 11th overall player.
That was fast. I didn't even have to do much. They're 28th.
They're 28th.
They're 28th. Like they're not throwing the ball much. You're looking at a team that was throwing somewhere between 61 and 65% of the time, to now this is a team that's throwing 47% of the time. A 20% decrease almost, at least 15% in the pass attempts. That's huge. Then you factor in the lack of weapons that he has around him in the receiving game. So do I think better days are ahead? Sure, they're going to draft another receiver. There's going to be a little bit, but I don't think this is ever moving much past 50-50 as long as Harbaugh is the head coach. This is going to be a team that's going to be running the ball just as much as they're throwing the ball. And so with that, it's hard to move him much past, like, could I see him getting back up to 9? Sure. But it's going to be hard for him to be a top 5 asset again anytime soon, just because the volume just simply isn't there.
And the more I thought about it, it's like, yeah, I would take CD, Jefferson, Malik ahead of. So I moved him down to number 11. I have him right ahead of Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Number 11 overall. What about at quarterback?
Quarterback 5.
So he's still at quarterback 5 for you?
I have him ahead of Burrow.
Why?
Because as of right now, like, it's not like Burrow's out there lighting it up either.
He had a great week this week. The offense is getting back in rhythm.
And that's the thing. I want to see that. I want to see that. I want to see that the wrist has no long-term effect. I want to see the arm is
Where's
there.
Jordan Love at?
I have Jordan Love all the way up at Jordan Love's my quarterback 7, 5th overall.
Okay,
He's
so
my,
quarterback 5.
I have him as quarterback 5. Jordan.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
But I'm all in on Jordan. I'm all in on Jordan Love.
Sure.
He's my 5th. He's right behind C.J. Stroud.
Yeah, for me right now, like, he's in that Kyler Murray, Caleb Williams type of range for me.
That's right. I have.
He's right above Caleb Williams in my new rankings right now.
So where'd you move him to?
10.
Quarterback 10?
Quarterback 10.
It's really close.
18th overall.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, 18th player overall.
Yeah.
So I have
you have him the highest for sure.
Player.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what, guys? I'm with you. I'm moving him right behind Jamar Chase. How about that?
I have him
14th
down,
overall player.
I have him down at player 27.
Should I move Nico Collins up specifically?
I have Nico above him. I have Jahmyr Gibbs above him. A couple receivers like Rashee Rice and Garrett Wilson and guys like that.
I moved Nico up pretty high here. Let's go. Ooh, Brock Bowers, maybe you're too low too, but that's not where we're at. All right, yeah. So I understand the Herbert argue. I agree. Sounds like Matt agrees too.
Yeah,
I do. I mean, it's just unfortunate that he's a really good player. He's actually been injured quite a bit, nicked up here and there, and now it's just the passing volume not there. That obviously we need this is fantasy. This is not reality.
Right.
He's a great real life quarterback.
Absolutely.
But the volume of passing just isn't really there to maintain that high of a spot, unfortunately.
Okay, let's get to one of Matt's guys.
All right, so do you guys want to stay on the QB theme here while we're rolling on it?
Sure, why not?
And then let's go down to South Florida. Let's go to Tua. Obviously, that's the big topic, right? I mean, last night we saw a debacle of a game. If you have the kind of caffeine level to watch that crap, I personally didn't. I sat down and started watching it. And I fell asleep.
I did watch it.
It was the most boring football I've ever watched.
I could watch 2 games at the same time.
I was at the circus, so I could watch everything at once.
I'll keep you awake.
Yeah. It was, 5 minutes later, I didn't have enough energy to flip the channel, and I was sleeping.
There you go.
20 minutes before I realized it. So Tua is really the guy that makes that offense click. And, I don't think any of us have a full appreciation for what he is until he's gone, right? And right now it's like it is a debacle in South Florida. It looks terrible.
It looks night and day.
It's night and day difference.
Completely different offense.
And
terrible.
And the hard part about this, because me personally, I moved Tua down to QB, I think 14. Yeah, QB 14.
I have him at 16 is where I have him.
And
18.
Even there, I don't have any confidence level in that spot that he's going to be like, where is his long-term value for you guys? Because I mean, I could keep putting him lower and lower. Like, would I rather have Jared Goff after last night? Sure, I think maybe I do, and that's who I got right below him. JJ McCarthy is sitting there with a bum knee, not doing anything in the NFL. Might I want to just flip that and go with the super young JJ McCarthy?
Jared Goff.
I mean, who knows? So I mean, Trevor Lawrence, will the light come on with him?
I moved Trevor Lawrence behind him.
Trevor Lawrence,
don't get Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence
and Jared Goff.
These are all guys that I have behind him. Anthony Richardson in 18. Kirk Cousins 19. Drake May 20. Like, how far down could I? Because I could probably drop him 3 or 4 more spots.
Let me throw this out there as a guy that I have a decent amount of Tua shares.
Yeah,
I've always been kind of on the Tua bandwagon.
Me too.
More often than not.
I think I have 2 or 3 shares of him.
Yeah, and so here's the part that helps is A, he did get the contract, which is huge. B, you can tell the difference drastically with him in the offense.
And 3
with him not in the offense. So I think those 2 things are huge for me. And then this team, if the quarterback is right, is built to win. Now, Tyreek Hill is about to turn 31. Like, he's not young. They are trying to figure out how to win now.
Don't let Rich get on that slippery slope. He'll be 35 by the end of the segment.
By the end of the show, he's done. So for me,
I
like,
drink this past 4 days.
I really, it's the concussions. Like, that's the thing. It's the concussions. From everything I was reading, like, even the neurologist said, like, we're not recommending that he retires. We're not saying anything like that. If he does sustain another one, like, he will have to miss extended time every time. Like, he's not going to be one of these players that comes back
after
a week. It's going to be an IR stay.
But he's already symptom free.
Right. So, I mean, everything, like, yes, that's concerning. But if I'm not necessarily worried about him retiring due to this, the numbers are typically there. So it's tough for me to move. Like, I have him at 16. It's tough for me to move him much lower than that. And if anything, like, if you're willing to be a little risky, he might be a decent value at the moment.
Yeah, I'm in his quarterback 18. As soon as he gets back on the field and he starts playing well and give me like 6-7 games, I'll move back up. But you're right. We don't know how his brain is. We don't know if it's got a seatbelt on, if it's looser than somebody's a professional gangbanger. We don't know. Like, it doesn't. That's how wide the spectrum is, and it can be very wide. You know, no feelings. And
no feelings.
For me, it is. It's a question mark, but like
professional game.
But
they put that on a resume.
Yeah.
Hey man, hey, the right job. That's your golden ticket in.
Yeah. You never heard of noun does insert city? Like, yeah, professional. That means something. That goes in the same thing as I move Jayden Daniels down. All the outside stuff for Tua moves him down as well. It's his brain. It's the fact that when it gets cold outside, he shrivels up a little bit. Not like me, but like, you know, it gets a little scared. So that all correlates, and here we are. He's quarterback 18. He's literally just running for a first down. Doesn't even get hit hard. He runs into a player and he's on IR. Like, it's that risky business.
I'm not going to take credit for this. I was listening to NFL, Sirius NFL radio. Jim Miller, Pat Kerwin. Jim Miller used to play quarterback, and they were talking about the Tua situation with a Miami caller, and they were like, he's playing a contact sport, but he can't take contact. So how do you rectify that? Because it's so that I couldn't say it more plainly and more easily.
Sure.
To kind of get to the crux of the argument here. Like,
that's really good.
He's playing a contact sport and he cannot take contact. How do you protect a guy?
Well, maybe you start with not running head first into a linebacker.
Yeah. Wearing that big helmet where you look a little
yeah,
funny.
He needs to wear the mushroom head there.
Well, I don't disagree with that. I think maybe some extra action needs to be taken on his part, and maybe he does have to look a little goofy with that.
Put a little lube on it. So slides either.
Nope. No jokes. No jokes are allowed right now in this current predicament.
Tua does Miami.
Nope.
Showtime. Garrett's like, put that mushroom tip on top of the helmet. So I'm just going to put a lube on it, make it a little safer. Slide right between those tackles.
Oh no. Anyway, I don't know what to do with Tua, man. I'm going to keep him at 14, I think, for now. And because I do think once he gets back, as long as he doesn't get hit and doesn't take any contact, he'll be fine. And
Easy peasy.
Done and done. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Hey, offensive line, my life is in your hands, literally.
He just walks out there first game in a red jersey.
That'd be great. It's Airway red jersey as a joke.
That would be so funny.
That'd be great.
Yeah, he's a tough player. I mean, I think he's a good buy. You know, obviously you're taking a huge risk.
Huge risk.
I was already,
but the price is so depressed right now. Like, why not?
and the thing was, like, his price already was depressed a little bit. I think what's gone back up, you're right, is like what the offense has looked without him. But like I already moved him down this offseason after I did a huge take on him. Like, and I went back and studied like all his games during the playoffs and how he performs and how his numbers drop down.
And he plays some
in the
tough
cold
playoff
weather.
teams this year.
And then this year, it was the same thing. He plays in Cleveland.
And then San Francisco.
Yeah. So it's like, to me, that already kind of moved him down until you overcame that hurdle. Again, we're talking about checking boxes, right? You can check boxes. You can uncheck boxes. Very simple. Like, and the more checked your boxes are, the more that box is filled up, the less you got about slipping and sliding, and you get higher up in the rankings.
Flawless analogy.
So the point is to fill the box.
Fill up the box,
Fill
man.
the box.
I know it's not easier said than done.
So let me ask you guys a question here, because when I was doing my rankings, I got to a particular position, and
That's not the right one.
I got a quarter for every time I heard that. When I went to go rank the running backs, I came to a realization that outside right now of possibly Saquon Barkley, I can't fully 100% trust any of them.
I hate running backs.
And it's weird because this has been the best year of running backs in a really long time.
A week ago, we should have a show. That's the year of the
It's
running
the
back.
year of the running back, which the numbers agree with that. Like overall, it's been a very good running back year. But can you guys say with confidence, week in, week out, outside of probably Saquon Barkley right now, that you would be confident in he will for sure get me 15 points?
How do you feel?
or more?
How do you feel starting Devon Achane?
Without Tua, I feel sick.
Yeah, gross, right?
But even Bijan has been like very okay.
Yep.
Breece Hall just put up a 5-point game.
Bijan's got is it a shoulder thing?
Yeah, they did come out saying that he was a little dinged up,
And that's why Tyler Algier got so many carries this past
especially
week.
towards the end of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That didn't make it to the injury show because I didn't hear about it.
that does happen sometimes with stuff like that. But Jonathan Taylor's banged up now. Jahmyr Gibbs has actually been very consistent.
Yep.
But you still worry about like the David Montgomery games and stuff like that. Like I said, Barkley you feel pretty good about, but then like
Really good.
everyone outside of that, then on down.
Travis Etienne's getting Tank Bigsby.
Yeah, Bigsby's had 2 games where he's had more rushing yards than him already this season. James Cook just put up a dud. Kenneth Walker's hurt half the time. Kyron has actually been surprisingly
very good.
He's been surprisingly good this season.
Yeah.
But that's the tricky part right now with the running back position. We're getting more points out of them than we've gotten in a long time on the whole as a position. But individual players, the trust level for me right now is very low.
Yeah, I'm looking at the running back ranks over here overall. Just to let everybody know, when I said where Jayden Daniels was earlier, I had on week 3 still. In PPR, he's the 3rd overall scorer. He's the number 1 overall quarterback in fantasy football right now. He's the 3rd overall
I already
scorer.
mentioned that.
Okay, just making sure. So at running back, you're right. It's tricky right now. Alvin Kamara, the GOAT, is still producing. He's running back 1. Saquon, you feel good about. Derrick Henry's got back-to-back 30-point games, which is going to help the cause pretty tremendously.
Wow.
Outside of that, Kyron Williams. So
But dynasty-wise, do you have any confidence ranking a running back 1 right now?
So the thing with me is,
I'm going to stick with Bijan.
I have him there just because he's there.
He's young and he's got a ton of talent.
yeah, see, that's the one that I've had Breece Hall as my number 1 overall running back since before the season. so far that's played out because Breece Hall is outperforming Bijan as well. I think in PPR, he had a dud game this week. If he did not have a dud game this week, he'd still be a top 5 guy. Breece Hall, he's moved down. But Bijan, to me, he's somebody that, like, he's currently running back 20 overall right now in PPR leagues. Sorry, not good enough for me. Love the college tape, but now this is if 22 years old, super talented. He's gonna be 23 by this year's end. If we don't get super elite production, I'm sorry, Bijan's gonna have to like move down behind these receivers, and he's got to produce at a high end level.
Sure.
He has to. So
and I do think better days are ahead for Bijan.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He hasn't had much touchdown production, which has been the crux of why this has happened.
Don't need excuses, but need production.
But none of them. Like, there's none of them at the top, though, that, like, I feel I think this is the least confident I've felt ranking a running back 1 overall in Dynasty in a while.
Let me put this way. Here's a better way to say it. I'm going to tell you a couple guys I feel confident still in.
Okay.
I'm still going to pivot, and I'm taking all the receivers here anywhere where these running backs go, so I don't really worry about it. That's just kind of the way I play. I know we did the switch on that, but even doing the switch of production value, like, go ahead and just give me, like, who do you feel more comfortable on a week in, week out basis right now? Nico Collins or Bijan Robinson?
Oh, Nico right now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll get a different running back later. That's my point. Like, you be able to get Bijan's going to go ahead of Nico in startups. Right. So
and I would still draft him ahead of Nico, honestly.
And I would not. I got to check my rankings. But
I definitely would. I would take Bijan 100 times out of 100 over a Nico Collins. And it's not because Nico Collins is bad. It's because I can get another Nico Collins.
Exactly.
And that's it.
It's just so hard to get top end running backs.
It's pretty easy to get another Bijan Robinson at this point either. You just draft David Montgomery. So I feel real comfortable with Jahmyr Gibbs still. He's still doing what he did last year, producing at a high level. I still feel very comfortable with Devon Achane. I think he's getting suffering a little bit. Obviously, no Tua, and
I just acquired another Achane share because of the dip. I was like, I'm going out there and I'm going to be active trying to get him.
I'm still very comfortable with Breece Hall. He's still so flashy, still very viable in the passing game.
I do worry about this Braylon Allen thing a little bit.
So what? Because I did not see what happened. He got stuffed at the goal line or something. Is that what happened? And people are second guessing why they didn't use Braylon Allen.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of it. But even just the past few weeks, all the touches that Braylon Allen's been, I mean, he's 14 touches in the one game. And it's been a much more of a true split than you would have expected. I would have expected it. Anyway.
Totally agree. Yeah, this has come out of nowhere. But Braylon Allen's looked good with the ball in his hands. So it's kind of hard. I mean, if you're gonna look good, you're gonna get more opportunities. So,
right.
I mean,
so that's what scares me there.
I think what they have is 2 really good running backs,
right,
which is great for their team. Not great for trying to figure out fantasy wise who's going to be
and honestly
week
valuable. Jonathan Taylor's been very good this year. The problem is just now he has this ankle thing.
Yeah,
and we got to figure that out.
Again, another injury that he's going to miss some time at. Like, too consistent. He's on my list. Bijan's on my list. I'm comfortable with, honestly, because where he goes makes me not as comfortable about him. I'm very comfortable with Saquon. Not comfortable with Christian McCaffrey. Got to move him down. Not comfortable with Jonathan Taylor currently now because he's got a high ankle sprain. 2 other running backs I feel, obviously Kyron's on the list. Another running back I feel really comfortable with, James Cook. Love the production. Love his
He had
usage.
a rough game this week.
I was going to say, besides this week, which that whole team had
the whole
rough.
team struggled this week. Nobody looked good. But outside of this week, like, James Cook has been looking pretty. It's not just about the overall production. He's looked good doing it, right? Mm-hmm. He's going to tackle yards behind the line of scrimmage, being involved in the passing game there. But you're right. It's a big flux in the running back position, which is only going to get muddier after this season because a lot of these guys are going to fall off. We have no idea what's going to happen to Christian McCaffrey. We don't know when he's going to come back.
Now it's tendonitis in both of his legs.
No
or
bueno.
both of his Achilles.
I got to move him down.
That's troublesome, right? I mean,
in Dynasty, I have him at running back 9, and I want to move him down even more. There's just nobody I feel good about moving ahead of him.
That's the
Kyron Williams.
I have Kyron ahead of him. I have Kyron at 7.
Jonathan Brooks.
I don't currently have Brooks ahead of him.
I don't either.
I have him at 12.
Kenneth Walker.
I don't. Walker. I mean, if we're going to say Jonathan Taylor's injury prone, Kenneth Walker he's already missed 2 games this year.
I don't have him ahead of them. I'm just wondering. I'm about to move Christian McCaffrey behind Jonathan Taylor, behind ETN, behind James Cooks, behind Josh Jacobs, behind Jonathan Brooks, behind Kyron Williams. That's going to make him running back. Oh, still makes him running back number 12.
Put him behind Brooks, huh? Haven't seen him even play yet.
But he looked good in college. again, this is a gamble, but here's the way I'm looking at it. Christian McCaffrey's 28 years old. He has Achilles tendonitis, which I don't even know what that means besides making you really sore after you run real hard. He's 28 years old. We have no idea when he's going to get back in the field. He went to Germany.
Came back with a second injury.
Came out. Yeah. They doubled down. Like, well, how's it feel in this leg? Just as bad. Like, shit. That
Dude,
backfired.
wrong leg. You just shot that in the wrong leg. And now it hurts. Ow.
There's a chance he might have to sit out. If he sits out the whole regular year, who cares if he comes back week 15, week 14 NFL season to help the San Francisco 49ers?
Right. That means you can't trust him to start him at that point.
He'll be a 29-year-old running back the next time you can play him. Like, I have to move him down. I have to move him down behind Kyrie Williams and Jonathan Brooks being 21 years old in 2 months, about to come off the pup and start playing here soon. I'll take what I saw on tape in a situation that's starting to look a little bit better there in Carolina. The offense is literally 180'd there with Andy Dalton behind the helm. If I'm going to start up and I got to take a gamble because I fade running back, am I fading on Christian McCaffrey, who I might never even be able to play in my lineup? Yeah. Or am I taking Jonathan Brooks, who, again, at least he's coming back? It was surprising. You make. Where are you going to take Christian McCaffrey today? Like, this is my rankings reflect today, right? So,
sure.
Today, where are you taking Christian McCaffrey? We don't even know if it come back, how long you play for. We have no idea. It's huge. Now, the reward is so tremendous why we still have him.
The reward is why I still have him at running back 7.
But that's why I have him ahead of Kenneth Walker. I have him ahead of Alvin. Why do I even have him ahead of Alvin Kamara? I'm moving Alvin Kamara ahead of him.
Well, because Alvin Kamara is...
I'm moving ahead.
30.
He's running back 1 overall. No, he's not. He's
29.
29 in 2 months.
29. He's 1 year older than Christian McCaffrey. If he plays this year, it's one more year of football production and wipe it out. So, and he's running back 1. He's the number 1 overall fantasy scorer in PPR leagues over right now. Alvin Kamara, number 1. True. Yeah, it's tough for McCaffrey. It's a tough split.
All right, let's move on to another one here.
Okay, if you think I've said crazy stuff now, wait for this one.
Hey, Nerd Herd, Dynasty Nerds has an incredible new offer from Underdog Fantasy for new customers. When you sign up as a new customer, you'll get a chance at their new customer free pick. But that's not all. Underdog is also offering incredible deposit bonuses. Use the promo code NERDS when you first sign up, and Underdog will give you up to $1,000 in bonus cash with your first deposit. That's right, $1,000 to kickstart your fantasy football journey. Don't miss out on this fantastic opportunity. Head over to UnderdogFantasy.com or download the Underdog app. Sign up today with promo code NERDS and start your journey to fantasy football glory today. Must be 18, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 21 plus in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. In New York, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY. And in Tennessee, call 1-800-889-9789.
And this is inspired by Dynasty Zoltan. Because as soon as I read his tweet, I was like, yeah, you're right. I'm doing the same move. I moved Justin Jefferson to my number 1 overall.
Justin Jefferson to your number 1.
I moved Malik Nabers to my number 1 overall wide receiver.
I saw this and I was surprised. I can understand it, but I could not get myself to do it.
And I know it's bold.
It's very bold.
And I know it's silly.
It's a little silly.
But here's the reasoning.
It's super silly, dude. Give me a break.
Right now, currently,
I thought I was bold having him at 4.
Malik Nabers is the number 1 fantasy football scoring wide receiver.
Yes.
He is not only being funneled the targets, he's producing with them at a very high level. He's looked absolutely tremendous on all aspects of the field, except for 4th down tosses. He's looked absolutely tremendous. And for me, do I think he is a better receiver right now than Justin Jefferson? Oh, definitely not. I don't think he's better than CeeDee Lamb. I don't. Do I think on a points per game basis that Malik Nabers is in that tier of Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and let's go like Nico Collins right now? I absolutely do. So when I see a receiver who is clearly the guy on a team and going to be the guy for the foreseeable future, and they have such a long way to go to build anything around him to make a championship caliber team that's going to affect his fantasy football production, that I'm not worried about in the least bit. and the fact that he just turned 21 years old.
Yeah.
If I can get a guy that is 4 years and 1 month younger than Justin Jefferson, 4 years and 4 months younger than CeeDee Lamb, and they're going to score the same amount of points, then I'm going to take that player. And then what got me there was like, okay, if I'm on the clock in a dynasty startup, again, and the league started today. Today was the league, and I had to draft. And I'm like, man, I got Jayden Daniels in the first, and say I had picked like one night, came back to me like, okay, I could have Justin Jefferson or Malik Nabers. The way I play the game would be like, yeah, Justin Jefferson's for sure. Like, he's a for sure thing. We'll see how it works out with J.J. McCarthy, though. We'll see. But boy, does Malik Nabers look like a sure thing to me as well. And if I can get that 4 years, which again is a lifetime, that's the needle breaker. And sometimes, like, am I splitting hairs here? Like, again, if you guys want to tell me I'm stupid because you're for sure ranking Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, and Ahmad ahead of him, like, cool. Yeah, he's in the same tier for me. I moved him to number one because if I had to pick one of those guys on my roster and I had to build a team that I'm like, I feel really good about this and get in. The younger my team is, with the stronger the player is, the more I feel good about it. I'm taking Malik Nabers.
See, for me at this point, at this age range, like if we're talking guys that are 27, 28, okay, then I get it. But at this point, like I'm still playing at most in like a 4-year window.
Yeah.
So for me, like I want to take the sure thing. And Malik Nabers, I'm 99% sure is a sure thing. Like he looks really good. Everything like similar to Jayden Daniels, where like he's checked all the boxes. There's nothing really to be concerned about at all, other than the fact of I just know exactly what I have in Jefferson. I know exactly what I have in Lamb. I know exactly what I have in Amon-Ra St. Brown. And why risk that for the year 2030?
It's because, again, does Justin Jefferson check the exact same boxes as Malik Nabers for me? Exact same box. They check the both boxes are full, right? Like they've got themselves the credible Hulk up in there.
Not
like,
the done it box.
What's that?
Not the done it box.
It's true.
Done it for when you can do it box.
Okay. I mean, if you want to play that, if you want to play it like that, go for it. But
here's an important box that they both check. Here's an important box they both check for me. They've both done it with mediocre or subpar offenses around them.
Sure.
Right? The quarterback. They've both done that. Like, we've been sitting here forever. How high have we had Garrett Wilson ranked? Right? And we're making excuses for him because, look at what's around him, the offense around him, what's going around him, or any of the other, like, once it gets better out there, like Garrett Wilson, like it's the talent's there, right? We made those excuses. It's Malik Nabers is in a much worse position. Probably not. I mean, Garrett Wilson's been in a pretty bad spot, but Malik Nabers didn't walk himself into the best spot whatsoever. And some thought the worst possible spot with that line and those other receivers in the quarterback play. And he's produced as the number one overall fantasy receiver.
And I'm cool with that. I have Malik Nabers at wide receiver 5 and Garrett Wilson at wide receiver 9, but there's no way in hell I'm putting him at wide receiver 1.
And that's fair.
I mean, it's just
and listen. That's fair.
And
most people are going to agree with you, and that's fair. I'm telling you, if I was on the clock today, and I'm like, okay, I got my receiver here, it's between Justin Jefferson and Malik Nabers, it's like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and get a little freaky here, and I'm going to take Malik Nabers.
I mean, that's your prerogative. That's great. And it would make me happy as hell if I was sitting right behind you grabbing Justin Jefferson. Just to let you know, I mean, I'd be doing flips.
Yeah, and you should be because you got Justin Jefferson.
Right.
I think.
I don't know.
I think this year, like, and listen, I felt the same way when I traded away.
It's been 4 games, dude. I mean, he's looked great.
I understand. I understand it's been 4 games. Yeah. And listen, if the wheels fall off, I'll move him down significantly. So like this is where I feel today.
You obviously have got him above Marvin Harrison. Have you put him above Marvin Harrison?
One spot. They're 4 and 5.
Yeah, I have him the other way, 4 and 5 still. I have too much of my bias still, but obviously what we've seen in the NFL, Malik has looked better.
Well,
but Marvin Harrison,
not by a lot. I mean, Marvin Harrison's been great.
Right. And that's how I was going to end that sentence. It's not like it's been leaps and bounds. So
it's that first game, like nagging. Like if the first games didn't exist, you would have them in the exact same tier. Marvin Harrison, he's been wide receiver 5 since week 3. So I mean, he's been
wide receiver 7 since week 2 in PPR leagues.
I think maybe last night changed it. That might have put.
He scored 15.4. 29. Well, he scored 29 points in week 2.
I'm saying that was before the Monday night games where he was 5. So I'm guessing Amon-Ra probably
I'm on Ross Brown's wide receiver 4 since week 2. Nico Collins is 2, Nabers 1, Metcalf is actually 3.
Okay, Metcalf would have been the other one that would have
Juwan
jumped
Jennings
last.
skews it at
makes
5,
sense.
and Jefferson's ahead of him. And again, guys, we're talking a tier here, right? Like these guys are literally right next to each other. So, and we talk about all the time. It just comes down to, at that point, when you have the players pretty equal and they're in the same tier, it comes down to preference. And like the fact that you're ecstatic about that, I 100% agree. And like I understand that I'm taking a risk here in doing it. But we talked about this when we adjusted for the running backs. Like we just realized everything's a risk. You know,
absolutely.
Like, same thing with Jefferson. Like,
Any
what
one
if
of
JJ
these players-
McCarthy comes in next year and he's a huge dud at quarterback? Risk, right? Like, huge risk. At least
don't have
Malik
to worry about
Nabers,
that.
I know he's
Sam
pretty much in
Darnold's
the
staying.
worst of it right now. Like, this is the worst that Malik Nabers is probably going to see it for a very long time in his career. And I'm happy. And at 20, and turning just 21 years old, that's the edge, the 4 years. Like, if Justin Jefferson was a year young, 24, and that might be enough of tier break, but for 4 years, that's a lifetime in Dynasty. So I know it's bold, but I'm here.
All right.
So we got that. Want to do some quick ones? Quick
Quick ones, quick, because we're on a time. We're at about 55 minutes. I just wrote T.J. Hawkinson as my tight end 5. I'm sure you guys have him a little bit lower.
If you can't play, you can't suck.
I wrote on there, if you can't play, you can't.
I have him
suck.
at 5 as well, actually.
Do you really? I just
I
wanted
do.
to see where you guys kind of had him, because I know at one point he had dropped in some people's ranks.
For me right now, it's Bowers, Kincaid, Laporta, McBride, Hawkinson, Pitts, Kittle, Andrews.
Okay. Mine is currently wheel of deathing me, so I can't find mine, but I know he's at tight end 5 for me. I just don't know who's around him and kind of where. I know Kincaid and obviously
Bowers are ahead.
Kincaid, Bowers, and Laporta are all ahead. Oh, I still actually have Pitts ahead, which he should probably drop.
Yeah, I should.
So Hawkinson will probably be my tight end 4 out of default. Like it's like I feel like the tight end position this year is just so gross, and we've talked about it before. So I don't need to hit that dead horse, beat that dead horse. But good Lord, like just not being there has been such a bonus for his value.
It really has. It's usually the opposite. Like
Yes.
you lose value because people forget about you and stuff. Like it's kind of the opposite.
I have
right
him
now.
on one of my IRs, and I'm just like, I can't wait for TJ Hawkinson to get back. I just keep staring at him week in and week out.
I hope he's having breakfast with Sam Darnold.
I have so many shares of them too. I'm just dying for him to come back. I moved Andrews down to tight end 9. I moved
have him at 8.
Kyle Pitts to tight end 6.
I have Andrews at
I'm at
7.
6.
But you know what? I've seen across all my leagues, everybody is desperate to trade Kyle Pitts. And they want to get him off their roster because they've seen enough. And they're all like, they want to get max value. But like I can sense some of it is starting to get to the point of like
Desperation.
a little desperation. Like
I'll take it because
I offered a
they all
26
suck.
first for him, and the guy and my buddy Schwab was like, I don't know, it's the best offer I got so far, but I'll get back to you. But even then, when I was thinking about it, I was like, man, like I'm taking like, would I rather have the 26 first than Kyle Pitts at this point? Because he's done. I mean, outside literally since his rookie year,
Right? He's done nothing.
for 2 years, he's done nothing.
2 years and then this year. This is the third year since then.
That's what I meant by 2 years.
Yeah.
So 2.
I'm trying to find him.
Nothing.
I'm trying to find him in the ranks. I'm getting past Eric All and no.
Yeah, when he
Fan.
scored 0 points last week, him and Mark
That-
Andrews
that does
tag
not
teaming
help.
it.
Taysom Hill.
We're talking about 2 of the guys that we had like
man.
super elite in Andrews and Pitts.
30. He's at 30. Tight end 30.
He's not even startable. Every league I have him, I don't play him. He's on my bench. So like, and here I am going, the guy's thinking about accepting my first. And I get why you would think about it, but like he's played in a bad system. Now he's in a system with Kirk Cousins.
And it's
with
not
that
even next
offensive
year's
line.
first. 2 years from now.
Yeah.
26.
And I'm still like, I got to draft tight end next year. Probably I'll produce Kyle
I mean,
Pitts
Colston
first.
Loveland looked pretty good there for
He looks
Michigan.
pretty damn good, right? So it's like Kyle Pitts is slowly walking down my lineup, and it's kind of like, man, like at what point I sold him. Now, to be fair, right before the league started, I had 2 Kyle Pitts shares or 3. I sold one of them for Christian McCaffrey straight up.
Well, that worked out.
Pretty fair trade so far.
Pretty fair.
Neither player's played.
Nobody's done squat.
At least you could replace Christian McCaffrey with some other
Yeah.
player in your
I
lineup.
don't know how it's possible. I think somehow McCaffrey has more points than Pitts. He hasn't played all year. It's possible.
Magic.
But in other leagues I have him in, like, thank God I'm insulated, but like I would be very open to move him for pretty easy. Like somebody offered me, if somebody offered you T.J. Hockenson for Cal Pitts straight up right now.
Slam.
Well, we ranked
Slam
him ahead of
dunk,
him. So,
yes.
yeah.
Okay, here's one. Somebody offers you David Njoku in a second for Pitts.
I just don't trust the Browns offense at all either.
Yeah, I'm trying to juggle my hatred for Deshaun Watson. And
Okay,
Somebody a high second because that might be the most valuable asset in the trade then.
somebody offers you, say somebody has 2-2 and Jake Ferguson, and they offer to you for Pitts.
Yeah, for
Yes,
sure.
easily.
Yes.
Okay. So what about just Ferguson in a second?
Yes.
Yeah.
Tucker Kraft in a first.
Yes.
I'm actually starting to hop on board the Tucker Kraft
I know
train.
Tucker is up to
Tucker,
tight end 13 for me, and guess what I'm about to do?
Move him up again.
I need to move.
He's going right ahead of Travis Kelce, baby. He's up to tight end 12.
I need to move Tucker Kraft up. I'm going to do it too.
Do it.
So is the move right now, if you have Kyle Pitts, go offer Pitts for Tucker Kraft in a first and be giggity.
Oh yeah, if you
Tucker
could just
Kraft in
get
a first. Yeah.
If you could just get the first,
if you could, that'd be it.
I would probably do it.
So Tucker Kraft in the first is 6 to midnight move.
Absolutely.
6 to midnight move?
Absolutely.
Well, boys and girls, let's go ahead and add some blood flow to the midsection and let's go ahead and jack this place up. Foundation.
I don't know if that's a good place or a bad place to end this show.
I don't know.
I don't even know. I don't know how to feel about that, Rich.
Well, talking to a guy who moved 2 rookies into one is wide receiver 1 overall, and one is number 2 overall startup player. I feel pretty good about everything that's come out of my mouth today.
There we go.
Yeah, me too. I'm just happy I don't have to do any more re-rankings of my guys for today. I just did this yesterday on my own. I'm still moving
doing
guys
it.
around.
Me and Garrett, we leave our rankings open, and we literally do this on the Nerd shows, and we talk it out, and we adjust our rankings
adjust
doing it.
them.
And it helps out so much.
What do you think I'm doing right
I
now?
know, it's fun. So there you go. I hope to look back, just like I look back, all these other statements where people tell me, like, Rich, you just like to talk. There's no substance, or you're never right. And it's like, I just want to go back. I'm like, hey, man, just look at my biggest offseason buys. You know what I mean? Sometimes being ahead of the curve, you looked up to the point, even when I traded Tyreek Hill and Saquon Barkley in a late second for Joe Mixon, Malik Nabers in a first. People told me I was an idiot. We're 4 weeks in now. It's only been 4 weeks, dude. What side would you rather have?
Oh, easily Malik.
Okay, yeah. Ooh, again, my job is to be ahead of the curve. That's where I feel like I do my best, is just get ahead of it. And to do that and to put yourself out there and make statements like that, sometimes you will be wrong.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, a lot of those times, though, like that miss isn't like, oh, like Malik Nabers is worthless. Like, it's like, oh, yeah, you would definitely rather have Justin Jefferson in the long term. But a lot of times you still end up with a pretty good player when you make moves like those. Right. So it depends on the first what you get back. Like, I'm not saying to go trade Justin Jefferson for Malik Nabers for Justin Jefferson, but if I can get Malik Nabers for Justin Jefferson and I get Malik Nabers in a second, yeah, all day. You know, I'd rather have them straight up.
All right.
Till tomorrow's show.
Adios.